Hello and welcome to the Hero Coaching Podcast with me, your host Mark Corner, empowering you to be the best possible version of yourself. Hello and welcome to another podcast with me, your host Mark Corner, Hero Coaching. Yet again, yes, we are back. We are bad. No, just joking. Right, okay then. So last week's topic was, let me think, I can't remember now. I think it was confidence, wasn't it? Just check for you. I'm sure it was confidence. Pretty sure it was confidence. No, it wasn't. It was procrastination. Right, yeah. So I'm getting all fuddled up here. Right, okay then. This week's podcast, it's all about habits. And I habitually forgot there. Right, okay. So, what is a habit? Well, it's something that you've been practicing for a long time, and eventually it becomes a habit, or to put it another way, you become a bit of an expert, where you become an expert at it, or you master it, become a master of your habits. And you know, a lot of these Greek philosophers, they knew a thing or two about habits, and I think it was Aristotle that said, excellence is a habit. We are what we repeatedly do. So therefore, excellence is a habit. So if you think about that, anything that you repeatedly do, you become. So if you repeatedly eat unhealthy, you become unhealthy. If you repeatedly think negative thoughts, you become negative. If you can continue to repeat positive thoughts and affirmations and work on yourself every day, like a lot of people do, and I do, and I've been doing for nearly 2 years now, then you become a product of that. You know, it's input and output, what you put in, and you know, just to give you an example of how powerful, you know, one word like no, if you look at somebody when they are saying that under an MRI scanner, you will see lots of things happening, like brain activity. The the flight or flight response is initiated. They've got cortisol streaming through the blood and adrenaline, just from that one word. So you think about having a constant stream of words in your mind as a habit, and you're saying those things to yourself. Well, you know, who knows where it's going to end up. Recently read a book. I highly recommend this book, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, is it his name? I'll tell you in a minute. Duhigg. The difference between who you are and who you want to be is what you do. Habits work in a 3-step loop process. There's a cue, there's a routine, and a reward. And a cue can be anything. It can be a TV advert, somebody saying something. It can be an emotional thing. It can be visual. It can be auditory. It can be a thought. How you change your habits, what you do is you substitute one part of the loop, which is the routine. You keep the same cue and the same reward, but you change the routine. So I'll just give you an example. If you have a cup of tea and then you do a routine where you sit there and put your computer on like I used to do, and then your rewards while you're sitting there, you're supposedly comfortable. But what if you had, I don't know, the cue's a cup of tea when you first get up, and then the routine is, well, I've had a cup of tea now, so I'll go for a walk, and then you come back and then you feel better because you've got a better reward system there than one that's not really helping you. Willpower is the most important habit, and you can strengthen it over time, and that takes practice. Apparently, the latest research on habits, well, as far as I'm aware, and what I've learned over the past few years, is about 60 days, but it might be longer. Everybody's different. So if you really want to get a habit entrenched, you're looking at 60 days. I mean, they used to say it was about 30 days, but I believe that's changing now. But it might, research in this particular field is changing all the time. So, and I've not looked for a long time, but that's roughly what they say anyway. 60 days to change your habit, which, if you think about it, it seems like a long time, 2 months, but it's not really. If you do that, practice the habit each day, then eventually it'll be formed, and then before you know it, you'll be on automatic pilot. I mean, I used to find it really, really hard to move. I used to sit for hours just doing nothing in particular, just looking on the internet and getting distracted and bored and fed up. But now, since I've had a Fitbit, it's motivated me. I've got my Fitbit set up, so I move 250 steps within an 11-hour period. And it used to start about, I think it was about 6 o'clock in the morning, but now it starts at 7 and it finishes at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock, somewhere around there anyway. I mean, it changes in the summer, winter, when you change the clocks and everything. And I like to aim to get in within that window. So I'll get in, my 250 steps. So it's more or less like I'm continually moving. And what I was doing at one time was, and I'm hoping to re-erect this habit, was moving for 10 minutes per hour. So within a 15, you got 15, if you, brain's going too quick. If you look at that as an hour, then you've got 15 minutes, 4 times 15. So all you've got to do is move 2.5 minutes per 15 minutes, and that equals 10 minutes, yeah? So 10 tens are hundreds, and that's 10,000 steps. So boom, there you go, that's 100 minutes, 10,000 steps. And that's how I used to do it, and it used to work quite well. I digress anyway. Roughly 40% of what you do happens on autopilot, so 40% of you is habits. That's quite a big statistic, really, when you think about it. And the reason we have habits, it's your brain's ways of saving energy. Can you imagine what it'd be like if you had to relearn everything all the time in order to do it? The energy, the amount of take it would take, it'd be phenomenal. So you spend around 6 hours of your 16 doing things you're not aware. You spend around 6 of your 16 waking hours doing things you're not aware of. So 6 of your 16 hours doing things you're not. It might be what happens there. So I'm just reading through here. If you want to change a habit, and this is something Dewitt calls the golden rule. So let's just say, for instance, you want to stop drinking highly caffeinated coffee, switch to decaf. I mean, you still got to go with your cue and reward of getting coffee, but you're just drinking a different coffee. If you want to strengthen your willpower, here are 3 ways to do it. Do something that requires a lot of discipline. Now, a lot of us, we give into temptation and impulsivity and, look at this Facebook post. Oh, look, I've got a like on Instagram. Oh, I've got an email. Well, that's just going to drain your willpower. If you think of, your brain, a bit like, what can we say? A bit like my Android phone. This is just an analogy, really, but or a metaphor, if you want to call it like that. Before I put this app on my phone, it used to drain quite quickly, but now I've put something on called Greenify. There's a tip for you if your Android phone's draining quite quickly. And willpower's a bit like this. If you've got an app on your phone and it's constantly doing things, checking things, going, oh, look at this, that will drain your willpower. So then before you know it, the thing that you want to do, you've got no willpower. Your battery's empty on your phone or in your brain, and that's it. So, what you've got to do is get into a habit of delaying gratification. Now, one of the things I used to do first thing in the morning when I used to get up, gotta get a cup of coffee or tea, get on my computer and look at all the wonderful things that I'm not merely missing. What are we actually missing out on? FOMO, fear of missing out. Not a lot, really. So if you want to strengthen your willpower habit, plan ahead for worst case scenarios. So anything that that might be coming up, and there's another word, terminology for this. You could call it crisis anticipation. So you're actually, get a pen and paper and write down the worst case scenario that might happen to you in one particular part of your life. Preserve your autonomy. Autonomy is a major part of living a passionate life. If you take it away, your willpower also goes down. That will build your willpower. I'm just going to get you a bit more research. I'm going on a bit. I'm over 11 minutes now, but I've just looked at Audacity. That's what I did my podcast with. Organisations tend to have habits. There's one particular example in the book about a guy called, I can't remember his first name, somebody O'Neill, and he went into Alcor in the States, and their safety procedures were a mess. So what he did was, and it was losing money and everything, there was that many people off because of unsafe practices in the actual company itself. And when he went there and actually took the job and did like an AGM, he stood there on the stage, and the first thing he said is, the first thing I want to talk about is safety. There was no, if you buy shares within our company or procedures or any of that. He just says, I want to talk about safety. And what he did was he changed the organisational habits of the company, and the profits went through the roof. And Starbucks have done similar things as well. They've tried to incorporate habits into their customer philosophy. So it can it spills into quite a lot of things, really, habits, when you think about it. This is I'm just going to read you a summary from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And a good idea to do is draw up your personal mission statement. And it goes something like this. And I think I'm going to do this actually, because I never come across this before. What do you want to be like? So that's your character. Now you could put in that, well, I want to have all these good habits. I want to exercise each day. I want to have rituals like I have in the morning. And if you want to know what my personal rituals are, well, the first thing I do before I do anything, and that means anything, I don't go with my usual cue and reward of a cup of coffee, and then switch the computer on from my reward as well as having the cup of coffee. So what do you want to be like? Well, probably I would say you want to be like somebody who's got good habits, like physical, mental and habits. What do you want to do, and your principles and values, but that values are another story. And also, one of the key things about habit, another thing, there's 5 categories to watch out for when you want to change your habits, and these are: where am I? What time is it? What's my emotional state? Who am I with? And what's the preceding event? Now, they do say that you become the sum of the 5 people that you are associated with most. So if they've got bad habits, then you're going to pick up their bad habits. And there's something called mirror neurons in the brain. And if you're around somebody enough, then sure enough, you will pick up their bad habits. So really, the key to all of this is self-awareness and becoming aware of your own habits. And, making sure that you've got the right cues and the right rewards. And if there's something that you don't want to do, a bad habit you're trying to change, you need to change the, like I say before, you need to change the routine. And also, one last thing before I close, because we are up to 15 minutes, but that's not too bad. In the book, and I highly do recommend, I'll just plug again, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. They had a woman in, these scientists, and they were fascinated by that she changed, the way she changed her life. And what it all came down to, in a nutshell, was one keystone habit that she had, and that was exercise. I think she ran across the Sahara or something like that anyway. So if you have a keystone habit, now let's just take, for instance, exercise, yeah? Exercise can affect your willpower, your well-being. It helps you to sleep better. You're more focused. You'll be more productive. You'll feel more confident. I mean, just think about that. That's like an umbrella effect, yeah? All under those that one thing of exercise, exercise is the umbrella. Then you've got all the other things underneath it. And that's basically what a keystone habit is. So if you eat healthily, you'll have more energy to do things, yeah? You'll feel better. You'll probably sleep better. You'll think better. So there you are. That's just another example. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this podcast up now because I'm blah, 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 blah. And I think I've said enough. And you're probably sick of hearing my voice. Well, I hope not anyway. So I'll see you again next week, next Monday. That's when I usually record the podcast. Have an amazing day. Take care. Much love. And see you again sometime. And it's over and out from your host, Mark Corner, at Hero Coaching. Goodbye. God bless. And have a great day.